Hello, my dotlings. We are here with. There you go. Introduce
Oh.
yourself.
Hi, I am Ash Schade. I'm a local Ph.D. student, local minister to my Satanic community, and a father, a teacher, and somebody who works too damn much. It was
No,
Shada before the divorce, it was Shade after the divorce.
that's definitely an upgrade. I think I know your ex.
Oh,
But we
you
don't
do.
need to talk about that.
He who must not be named, right?
Yes. Yes. Anyway, I think we've all got at least one good ex in our past. It's like, that just adds flavor text.
Yeah. You always have that one that sounds like a 4chan green text story in hindsight.
Okay, so I definitely want to get into. So there's a couple. I know there's three things that I told you that I really want to talk about, like because neurodivergency and LGBT. Anytime I can see somebody else who's making something of their life, I want to be a part of that. I think that's awesome, and I want to commend you on that. And then I
Thank
also
you.
wanted to talk about your part in the. Is it the Temple of Satan or the Satanic Temple?
The Satanic Temple West Virginia. Yeah.
The Satanic Temple, West Virginia, because I have said it like 5 different ways.
You're good.
So tell me a little bit about. Let's start with the Satanic Temple.
Hmm.
Tell me a little bit about what you do.
I'm the local co-chapter head. West Virginia has a congregation of Satanists who commingle. We're basically really good friends. We're there for each other, and a lot of the time, when one of us has like a really big hardship going on, or we're facing discrimination about coming out about our religious beliefs or need advocacy, we kind of stick together. We're there for each other, and it's very fulfilling as a minister, and it's great to help a community I love. I mean, we're individualists by nature, but I'm just speaking as an individual Satanist. We're animals, and we're a social animal, so it's only human to love your community and to have social needs. Individualism's great, but it's up to the individual to decide who they want to have a community with, etc. Sorry, I need a cup of coffee.
That's all right. Every time I do a live stream, I've usually got 2 drinks because I start with one.
Mm.
I like this one. This is one of my favorites.
Oh, I love that. I've got a couple really funny ones myself. This one's just great.
That is cute.
Yeah. I love that one. It's just too funny.
That is funny. So what does like? So it's basically just. It's almost like another church, but not a church kind of
Yeah.
group.
I'm just speaking as a individual Satanist during all this. I'm not going to speak on behalf of the organization,
Right.
but we are a formally recognized religious group. Um, yeah, our congregation is very similar to how any other religious group will function.
That's really cool.
We just happen to be a little spoopy.
How did you get involved with the Satanic Temple?
Oh, well, that is a long story. And I'm just speaking as an individual here, so I feel privy to talk about that. It started in, actually, let's go back further than that. As a trans disabled kid in special ed, I always grew up very alienated, feeling like nothing and nobody. You can't do it. Why can't you be normal? And after
Normal
being,
sucks.
it does. Gotta love public school.
Mm.
Um, so, after being outed to my class in fifth grade, the only refuge from forced femininity was, well, the goth lifestyle. And it's always something I've taken interest in. And unfortunately, there was this lovely little pop culture stereotype about Satanists. Oh, we are all goths and we all sacrifice babies, so it became a weapon my classmates, teachers, and community used against me. It's like, oh, we're just worried that you're getting involved with the devil, bless your heart. So this really took a toll on me over the years. So, flash forward to 2011. I'd just gone to, I was in my freshman year of college at that point, and I was kind of alone in the world, figuring my way out and just questioning beliefs and philosophy, etc. So I find myself in the bookstore at the local mall, just looking at religion, new age stuff, things I've always taken a interest in, because God, people who might be a little neurodivergent might focus on a topic and be stuck on it for years, and it all encompasses their life.
That's how I got into occultism in general. So yeah, no shade, no shade.
Yeah, I'm just known as the Satan guy around town. But anyways, so I find this copy of good old Anton LaVey, the Satanic Bible. Very easy to read cover to cover. A lot of it's highly polemic and a product of the time of which it was written, but like what started out as an academic,
It does have some good points. I remember actually because I do a lot of I listen to a lot of audio because I can, if I listen to it, I register it better. I can put something on while I clean, so I'm doing something while taking in the information. And I listen to the Satanic Bible, and it's actually, if you cut out the really bizarre shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I personally thought the shoe mostly fit with me and decided to wear it. Was pretty closeted up until about 2012, 2013. I was taking Dr. Hinton's occult and conspiracy psychology course, and all these students got mad over the subject material and the curriculum. They'd get so mad that the teacher was talking about occult subjects. I'm like, occult is in the class title. So
that was my kind of class.
Yeah, and Dr. Hinton always said, pigs don't fucking fly in this class. If you have a point, then back it up. And saying my grandmammy doesn't believe in this, and nor do I, so I don't want to read it, is not good on an academic paper. So he had given us all open mic day to argue and defend whatever we'd like and give presentations defending our viewpoints. Of course, the class ended up being dominated by very white light, very right hand passes. Not even that, just mostly how to live, laugh, love. I prefer live, laugh, lurk. So basically, very typical, very culturally Protestant Christians take the stand and just carry on with the same things I've heard over and over and over again. So at this point, nobody else was able to get a word in edgewise. So my dumbass walks down the stadium seating in this class of 100, lays on the table like a French girl. And I was like, what if I told you I was a Satanist? What questions would you have to ask? They're like, are you? Looks around. Yes. And that's how I outed myself to the class, and it actually went really well. Done numerous talks on Marshall's campus, and I've had a great decade on the left-hand path. I mean, my views have since evolved since stumbling across the Satanic Bible 10 years ago. TST happened to be founded in 2013, and I'd been following them since the Baphomet statue and the Rick Scott rally, which was hilarious.
You know what? I actually just watched that again on YouTube.
It was brilliant.
So I know I've got an atheist friend who keeps saying, well, I'd join if it wasn't an actual religion. I'm like...
We have atheist allies. Everybody's welcome to hang out or go to dinner or have an Ale Satan meeting with our congregation. We don't care. If we want to have a spirited debate, then it's welcome. Like, I just happen to see use in religious behaviors, and I'm actually predisposed to them as a person on the spectrum. Yeah, when My
It's nice to
involvement
find a
with,
group.
huh?
It's nice to find a group of
Oh
semi
yeah,
like-minded people.
oh yeah, and if we disagree on something, we can agree to disagree. But generally, it's West Virginia's a group of people who have been historically marginalized, kind of coming together, having a damn good time while doing it. Makes life fun. Um, like yeah, oh, I see a question.
Oh, and I think you got a shout out.
Oh, it says, oh, it said, how do your views affect your daily life? Well, that's a pretty lengthy question.
Oh, that's on your thing. Okay.
Okay. Well, it honestly, as a very obsessive person on the spectrum, it affects everything. It, it's the tattoos I wear, the obnoxious bumper stickers on my damn car. It's something I'm very out loud and proud about. However, as a marginalized minority, as a trans person and somebody who is neurodivergent, society does not have a nice script for people like me. And when you see a lot of Christian hegemony and people who really don't want you in positions of power or anything else, as a Satanist who takes a very adversarial role, I'm willing to put up with a lot and I'm willing to accept that people are always going to hate me. However, rather than just write myself off as doomed to poverty and just shitty experiences perpetually, I always look at myself in the mirror when I put on my Baphomet necklace every morning, the one I've worn for years. Um, always say, hey, you are your own God. If, and you are in control of your life. It's like, what are you going to do today? Are you going to sit there and let people trample on you? Or are you going to say, hey, I'm going to do the best of what I have today? I'm going to embody the values of the adversary, so to speak, defiant, wild without abandon, sometimes devil may care attitude, pun intended. Um,
I
does not
definitely
take.
like the right to offend.
Oh yeah, we have a right to offend. Well, I'm not setting out to troll people every day. I'm very, this is who I am, take it or leave it. I'll work long days. I'll do my best to better myself while protecting those I love. That is my Satanism. A lot of it's very, very Levian in a way, but that's just my particular practice. A lot of us take what's most useful to us or what ideas really resonate with our own satanic practice and kind of develop those further. Like,
That's
does
really
that help a
cool.
little?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. I do have a question though,
Yeah.
because I know, like, do you believe in magic? Like, do you use energy work or any of that?
Mm, not necessarily, at least not in the traditional sense. I'm only speaking for myself when I answer this one, so I'm just going to talk about my views on magic as a Satanist. I happen to be the atheistic variety. Uh, God, Satan, and other deities to me specifically are characters. They're examples of themes in the human subconscious that have resonated throughout time and across religions, whether it be Iblis in Islam or trickster gods in Native American cultures. There's plenty of adversarial figures, but can I?
You can say whatever you want. Like,
Oh, I'm just trying to figure out the term for it. Do I say an incantation and automatically get into a PhD program? No, not necessarily. Ritual and ritual magic to me is affecting my own personal psyche so that I can make direct change in my daily life, whether it be, I don't know, applying to a PhD program or getting all of my anger out after somebody has horrifically wronged me. And I need to put that somewhere that's healthy rather than directed on towards my family who I love. So, in a way, magic or ritual for me specifically, it's kind of like the work oxen. It's made to work for me. It's my thoughts and words and lighting candles for me aren't going to change reality in and of itself. However, what I change up here in my mind will kind of trickle down into daily life. It's like I need to do a lust ritual after taking a testosterone shot, then no problem with that. I hope that makes some sense. A
Yeah,
lot
it
of it's
does.
theatrics.
I actually have heard of a lot of like there's like a whole branch of Western occultism that I was kind of looking into that thinks along that same line.
Mhm.
English, it's a hard language. Uh, fuck Webster, he was an asshole. But how exactly how you described it, how you kind of change your inner thinking so that you can take the opportunities that are already out there.
Mhm. That's pretty accurate. I I mean, sure, I could stick. I'm not gonna. I'm not trying to offend anybody else or condemn anybody else's religion. I rather than I don't know sticking pins in a dolls or making a puppet, I'd rather light a few candles, strip naked, put my robe on, and screech into the.
I
It's so
made him in
cute.
a
I
house
love it.
top and I fill it with a coffee and lavender. It does make me feel better.
Oh, no worries. It's just not in my personal paradigm, but do what thou wilt.
Shall be the whole of the law.
Yeah, God, I reminds me of my cat Alistair meowing.
Sorry, I know I just derailed everything
Oh
because
no,
that's
you're good. If there's one thing I'm good at in life, it's oversharing and talking.
same. That's why I started a YouTube channel.
Hell yeah. I mean, I'd love to make more YouTube videos and vlogs, but things have been weird since my last upload.
Well, if you ever want to help or if you get your channel going, I'd love to be on your channel too.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm under total transparency. Last major update was announcing my divorce while I was pregnant, just sitting at my desk, kind of sitting in silence. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Well, that's been a while now. So tell me,
Yeah.
I know that you're a seahorse dad.
Yes. Um, that's kind of a moniker in the trans male community, specifically ones who give birth and deliver their own kids naturally. Um, Not every trans man is going to want that. It's a very difficult experience, but a lot of the Instagram trans community, you'll call each other seahorse dads because male seahorses are actually the ones that give birth in nature. So I carried her and she was my tummy orb.
That's pretty cool.
I love her.
Congratulations on the baby.
Oh, thank you. We call her the Great Princess of P. I say, oh, great Princess of P, what wisdom do you have for me? She'll like start carrying on.
Good. Teach him young to talk.
Yeah. God, she was already like at my altar the other day, like trying to mimic me. I'm just like, bug, sweetie, we can pick when you're old enough. You don't have to do what Daddy Ash does.
So I know you have a husband now too, don't you? Like you're
Oh
married and
yeah,
everything.
yeah. My husband's great. Love him to death. He's wonderful, and he was there when Ronan was born. He cut her cord, and we're doing step parent adoption since it's open shut case. He's wonderful to her. He's cuddly and funny, and he has the best memes. They're dank.
That's awesome. So I always love to see somebody having like a healthy relationship.
After the hell I have been through the last, 7 years of my life, it's a relief. It's just nice to see your kids smiling and your husband greeting you when you walk in the door every day, and that I can vent and that I won't be judged for it. That and I don't mind working two jobs and being a PhD student and a parent and everything else. Because, I mean, my husband didn't have to do a damn thing for me, considering he walked in the day my ex moved out of my house while I was pregnant already. And he's been there ever since, and he's been wonderful to us. So, honestly, after the hell I've been through, this feels like paradise, and he's great. I don't mind working hard to support them.
Right. So has he been there, like, so he was there through the transition then?
Kind of, sort of. He was a Facebook friend, actually. We used to exchange ship posts and stuff like that, but he noticed my statuses became increasingly more depressing during the couple weeks leading up to my ex moving out. So he offered some company and, do you need a friend? And I'm like, yeah, I really do. So first time we'd ever met in person and stayed the night, and I he was there to comfort me as I stood in my empty dining room as my ex drove away. That and rubbing my tummy, calling her the orb, and coochie cooing her when she came out. She's his best friend.
That's really cool. That's
Yeah,
really sweet.
That I'm just glad my in-laws didn't judge me, considering what the context was. I was on T, didn't know I could get pregnant, and didn't care anymore.
Right.
Sorry, there's just never a dull moment here.
Well, I'm glad things are stabilized.
Oh, me too. Got an IUD in as a safety net.
So tell me a little bit about, if you want to, tell me a little bit about your transitioning experience.
Well, it's been a very long, difficult road. I've known since I was a kid, but a lot of my life I felt such shame over it because my parents were like, this is embarrassing to me, that being punished and outed for it. So for a very long time, I was just like, nope, nothing's wrong here. Everything is fine as I carry on being suicidal for the next 20 years of my life. Just, I don't know. After the last incident, I just decided I'd had enough in 2015 and said something finally. I got caught up on a really bad detour. You see where this is going? Felt like I couldn't get my medicine for a long time because reasons that I don't feel privy to talk about. But when push came to shove, I wasn't able to maintain sanity anymore without actual transition care. So I realized after a third chance at life, this is what I'm doing with it. I was running out of chances at that point and just wanted to live. I just wanted a chance. So finally making the psychiatrist call to start working on a testosterone referral, it was finally just pleading mercy and tapping out. It's like, I deserve better than this. Fuck this.
Right.
It went by relatively quickly, the therapy and everything else needed for it. Because I'm an attempt survivor, they actually kind of expedited everything. That, and they're like, you're high risk, and you've got photographic evidence, a very long history of dysphoric behaviors, and you're pretty sure of what you want, so let's get you through, kind of thing.
That's cool. When they finally listen to you, at least they finally listen to you.
Yeah, I was kind of not necessarily a case they wanted to deny. I hate to think of myself like that, but in hindsight, fuck, I made the right decision.
Yeah, my phone off. Sorry,
I
I forgot to turn my... I'm just gonna put it over there.
Oh, you're good. I just installed a doorbell camera that's Wi-Fi and constantly sends cat photos to my phone now. There's just cats running everywhere every 5-10 minutes. It'll show a kitty cat.
Oh my god. So there's this one time, I have the cats. I know, this is ADHD detour. Back when I was in my... I call it exile. Some people call it marriage. I call it exile.
I know how that goes.
Right? The isolation, man. The fucking isolation. So, we did like a bunch of mushrooms. We had these chocolates that were like an ounce of mushrooms each and like condensed down. And so I'd just taken one of these, and the power company had cleared off my hillside so I could actually see the neighbor's house. And
Mhm.
the light kept going on and off because it was motion activated, and then we had this infestation of cats. And I'm like, is their house on fire? I'm like screaming to my brother-in-law, I just need to know if I need to call 911. He's like, I gotta go.
Ah, if it makes you feel any better, I've had my fair share of psychedelic experiences over the last 5, 6 years. I haven't done anything in years, but that's a whole other episode.
Fair enough. Okay, so I did have this one question because I noticed like I had a trans friend. She died, but I knew her before she had transitioned. But for some reason, like after she had transitioned, it was like they were two separate people. Do like the people you know have like a disconnect there? Like they have a hard time relating you to who you used to be?
Honestly, yeah, that is the case, and that's a wonderful question, by the way. Um, I'm just gonna be completely candid here. One of the reasons it was so incredibly hard to just finally out myself and get treatment is because I felt like I couldn't leave being a big titty goth girlfriend. When you haven't been loved your entire life, all these men pining over you and being liked, it felt good. And I felt like it's going to be catastrophic. How will I ever stand on my own 2 feet? But eventually, you just get sick of the shitty, abusive relationships and realize you're not loved for the right reasons.
Right.
So, for a lot of people, they did have to grieve. And a couple people literally got into that pleading and bargaining stage of grief. It's like, no, I saw you cry once. You can't possibly be a man. That was the most feminine thing ever. It's like, oh no, I had feelings. How dare I? Um, but just some of the excuses people made up and the anger and the backlash are like, I'm sure Ash is faking it. It's his next attention stunt. I'm just like, no, I just lack social cues and tact. But I'm like, nah, this has been going on a long time. I've been in pain and I just wanted to be out, even if it costed me friends and family. Hell, there are still relatives of mine that are sad till this day over it. They always say how pretty you used to be. It was weird. I knocked on my grandma's door once shortly after transitioning. She thought I was a door to door salesman. It's like, Grandma, it's Ash. It's like, who are you again, Johnny? But yeah, there is definitely a disconnect for a lot of people, and that might involve the grieving process for some. And it's sad. But in a way, transitioning was like finally leaving a burning building that's about to cave in on me. You don't know what's outside of that door because you've never been out there. This little closet's been your comfy space forever. But if you stay put, you're gonna die. You're gonna lose your shit on social media, go completely nuts, and you're running out of chances. So you can drop the act and do what you need to do, or you can stay here being the big titty goth girlfriend while your world caves in. So I picked me for once.
Don't get me wrong, there's never ever too many big titty goth girls out there, but I'm glad you're who you are out and proud.
No worries. I'm far better off and far healthier. Just I have a flavor of insanity, just not the same one. um, gosh, as much as I miss some parts of my life before transitioning, the last words I had said right before I went down for my double mastectomy were, maybe I should keep the ashes of my tits and just like mail them to all of my really shitty exes.
I
Add
saw
some
that
glitter, just make it a fucking glitter bomb, a really morbid one. It's like titty
titty
sprinkles.
sprinkles.
It's like enjoy
That
that,
should
or
be a freaking hashtag right there. Titty sprinkle for the abusive ex in your life.
yeah, that or instead of a horse's head in their bed, you just put your severed tit in their bed.
Does send a message.
That or maybe they can taxidermy them. They can fight over it. Because apparently that's the entirety of my worth before.
I'm sorry they made you feel that way, because I definitely see value in you without the tits.
Oh, well, thank you. It's just kind of hard to know what true love it feels like when you're used to having so many conditions of worth, never being good enough, regardless of what you do. It just leaves you open to falling into those really destructive relationship patterns later on. But you live and you learn. It's part of being human.
I got lucky. I only had one, and it was never physically abusive, but I can't watch videos about gaslighting. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, I know how some of that goes. I don't feel like I can share specifics, names, or details, but whew, you don't realize how abnormal or destructive something is until somebody on the outside looking in points it out to you.
Right.
That's
or you
all
just reach that point where the building is collapsed and you're like, this ain't healthy.
Just eat, basically.
Oh my God, I didn't realize it. This is funny. Like, I've told this story before. I didn't realize how toxic my relationship was until I called my uncle and I was like, I'm just done. And what I was looking for was relationship advice. What was I doing wrong? And he's like, and instead of being like, well, let's talk about it, he says, I'll be there in an hour. And somehow I accidentally activated a phone tree that had been in place for years. I'm like, okay, well, you only call on the troop once. I guess I'm changing life right now.
Yeah. Send in the torches and pitchforks. That or send me in my hooded robe and my dog to their door. Just
definitely more my style.
Yeah. I'd had a roommate who had done that to keep his parents away for a long time. I had never really caught on because I'm just like, if you don't like me, why are you rooming with me? And it eventually came out that his parents can't stand me and they're afraid of me, so they won't come over and find out that he's failed out of college. You can't make that shit up. It's great.
That is funny though.
It's morbidly funny in hindsight, hellish at the time, but there were the times we had gotten broken into. Absolutely nothing in the house was stolen but my other roommate's PS4. The cops come. They look around at all these animal skulls and like pentagrams and shit on the walls, and they're like, so who do you live with? They're like, wait, is this Ash's house? Yes. It's like, oh no.
They know me.
They know too much. Sorry, I've got a childish sense of humor.
You got to. I'll tell you what, that was one thing I learned from nursing. You never get rid of that 6th grade sense of humor. It's like, I still think fart jokes are, in fact, hilarious.
Same. Like, I thought it was hilarious when my kid slung poop at me in the bathtub one day. Baby shart, do. Just poops hilarious. Butts are hilarious. Farts are hilarious. Like, me and my husband, we sound like Beavis and Butthead or Terrence and Phillip laughing at farts constantly.
Oh my God, I saw that they're actually like, I think they're on, I saw them, I crossed the Beavis and Butthead on one of the, I'll get it out here in a second. It's coming. Streaming services. I don't even remember which one. I think it was Hulu or Netflix. But apparently they're like back out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was it the updated season or the Mike like late 90s one?
I don't know. I didn't really. I was kind of scrolling. I was like just more or less flipping through all the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
it's like having one of those moments. You get a lot of these neurodivergent moments. Like they're hard to explain to normal people, but sometimes you just get caught in a flow where you're not really looking at anything. You're just pushing a button repetitively.
That's how I am on Reddit.
Like, well, this looks interesting. I'll read it later. I don't actually feel like reading anything. I'd feel like looking through.
Yeah, that's how I am, like, with YouTube. My watch later list is just full of Christian and occult documentaries. I almost had a Freudian slip there. Testosterone on the brain. I almost said adult documentaries. I'm like, ooh, sweeties and Ash, occult.
That's all right. That's all right. I was looking up. I YouTubed the word pussy to make sure I could wear this shirt.
I love it.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I could actually wear this shirt on live stream. So I was just like going through, and there is some stuff on there. There's some stuff on YouTube. I'm like, all right, I'm fine. I'm good.
Yeah, I've seen some weird things on YouTube, particularly like the Elsa Gate videos, just those weird kids things. It's a very hard phenomenon to explain, but they'll have these like really weird, like randomly generated kids animations. There was one where I think Marvel characters were doing Squid Game, and I'm like, the hell is this? What are you watching, Bug?
This has all gone too far. We've released the insanity, and it's not coming back.
I'm just dreading when she finds Frozen.
That is one movie that I feel like that is one of those few movies I feel like I really, really connect to, but have never actually watched.
I don't know. I just don't like Elsa as a character regarding development. And honestly, you hear something so many times, it's just burnt into your memory. If I just remember working at Walmart, slapping labels on meat as let it go would play on the loudspeakers. The fluorescent bright lights would flicker. You'd have some guy ringing the doorbell repeatedly when he knows you have sensory issues. And then
the David Lynch
you just
moment.
want to scream.
It's like, when did I walk into a David Lynch movie and where can I walk out?
I walked out of that job after my attempt, so they were just like, so when can you come back? When I come in unable to speak in a hospital bracelet the next morning. They're just like, so when you coming back to work? Put in my 2 weeks after that. Yeah, no, fuck you.
Walmart's an experience. Like Walmart, that's one of those first jobs. I think everybody has to work there or at McDonald's. Like
McDonald's was my first.
It's like you got to be traumatized. That's how you learn to treat people better. Like,
I feel like the retail experience it sticks with a person.
It does,
especially in the age of Karen.
People act like Karen's such a new phenomenon, but that bitch has been around.
Yeah. Sometimes I want to look up the statistics on how many people are naming their kids Karen now. That's just dropped off the map.
Oh, I'm sure. I kind of feel sorry because, you don't run into them very often nowadays, but, it was a very common name for a while. So there's a lot of people out there who are named Karen. I'm like, it sucks to be you, man.
That's okay. There's a lot of trans men named Ash too, so I'm just making a joke about that. It's always Ash or Aiden. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I ain't name shaming.
You know what? That's one good thing about being named Dottie. Apparently, like I only run into people over 60 who are named Dottie.
That's a cute name. I like it.
It's short for Dorothy. It's an old name, so most of the bitches that were named that are already dead. I don't have to worry about them.
That cracks me up. I really like the name Mildred, though.
Mildred, yeah. The old names. We need to bring it back, like Ada. It's like there's every variation of Ada out there. Zeta, Veda. Veda was actually my great grandmother. All the Adas.
Yeah, I always think of Resident Evil when I hear the name Ada. I'm a dork.
Everybody's gonna have their thing. I never can get into video games. They're one of those. They're bad for me. If I get it, occasionally, every now and then, I'll have a moment where I'll download one of those pop games, and then like 24 hours later, I'm like, I've spent $5 that I will never get back, and 24 hours that are lost to me.
Yeah, I like Dark Souls. I haven't had a console in years, unfortunately, so I haven't really been able to play or get good, so to speak. But my primary goal in life is to be the praise the motherfucking sun guy, but with Satan. I
Praise
just love that
Satan.
game. It's memeable.
I feel like that is a meme though.
Oh yeah, it's like praise the sun. That, and I really love Bloodborne as well.
Bloodborne.
Yeah,
I love to hear people, like so many of the people I know love video games, and I like to watch other people play them, but I can't do it.
yeah,
I don't know why. That hits. There's just certain things where you have neurodivergency. You're like, this is just straight fucking with me. I don't know why, but I know I need to get out.
yeah. I just don't like group games. I'm more of a single player RPG kind of guy. Unless it's D&D, then it just gets funny.
Right. But
Like
that's like a whole different. That's a whole different game right there.
yeah. I usually play like a warlock or a caster, but everybody jokes it's like Ash should just be the bard. I'm like, wow, I can't imagine why you'd say that. Holds kid in the underarm.
This is my musical instrument. Oh my god, did you
Oh,
see that meme going around forever where the bard like drops his pants and
I think so. I'm not sure.
it's been a while now, but I know it was everywhere there for a minute.
I'm gonna have to check that one out again. My husband probably has it in his meme vault.
Okay, I gotta show you these boots before I take them off. I've realized I'm playing with these things under camera. Nobody can see how fabulous they are, and I'm sitting here torturing myself. So I gotta show you these. I wore my boots for you.
Oh, I like those. I need to get a pair of like demonias or something. I just never learned to walk in those kinds though.
I still stomp around like a trucker, but I love them. It's like they're gorgeous as long as I'm sitting still.
Oh, they
Oh my
just
god.
look
Okay.
hard to walk in. Like I just never really I never learned heels. Maybe it's just because I'm the lord of the silly walks and I have an awkward posture.
Heels are a creature of their own. Like I've been trying to learn how to walk in heels because I've been trying to do more drag stuff. Like, I mean, the wig.
I like
I've
it
been
though.
I actually finally bought me a breast binder so I could do drag king because I want to do both. You
Get
can
you a
see
man
my
who can do both.
right. I'm a little bit of that's that non-binary. I try to be non-binary. I don't know if I'm pulling it off, but I'm trying.
Oh, I didn't mean to be rude earlier. Just what pronouns do you use?
I don't think about it when people ask me that. I'm like, well, I'm 35 and I'm okay with me. So whatever you want to call me, I'm cool with it. I
Okay.
I do like to think that I am non-binary, they, them, she, her, but I don't sweat it.
Okay. I always like to ask just to be sure.
I mostly put they, them in there because I am trying to do the. I really like drag as an art form. Like it's a really like amazing thing to watch people like temporarily completely transform themselves. Have you seen one of my favorite shows, Dragula?
I haven't actually. Is it on a streaming service or cable?
It's on Netflix and the new season is out on Shudder.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's not for everybody. It is gory.
Oh, nice.
It is gory. Like they don't have eliminations, they have executions.
That's great. I should get
It
on that
really.
show because they can't execute me.
They probably love you. It's really cool. Don't go on that show with kid club boots or a mask. Just don't do it like every single time. Yeah, you see, loves Dragula. I love Dragula. But like they bring these people on and I think they do it to try and be inclusive as drag as an art form, but they always end up eliminating them. They'll bring on people who wear like these masks. There's always like a masked drag queen and they always get eliminated because they're always and they caught him the first episode this time. I'm like, wow, you didn't even give that one a chance because the ones in the two previous seasons, like they used one mask for the whole competition. Like if you're going to be transformative, you have to change it up each episode. So I'm like,
Yeah, gotta
they
make
didn't
it
even give this one a
spicy.
chance. It's fun. It's a
Well,
fun watch.
yeah, me and my husband were looking to get into some new shows sometime pretty soon. We've been trying to make a night to finish the new Dune or Berserk or something, but
I haven't sat down and started watching Dune. I'm really excited about it. I wanted to sit down and watch it. I haven't yet.
Dune is just Star Wars for goths.
Well, that explains a lot.
I love the meme ability of it.
True goth never dies.
Well,
We just resurrect.
yeah, that sounds about right. I'm running out of 9 lives though.
Let's avoid the dying thing for at least a little while.
Yeah, I've almost made it to 30. I'm so close yet so far. Between car accidents, mini strokes, general depression earlier in life, and just crazy shit happening, I'm gonna walk outside my damn house tomorrow, and a bolt of lightning is finally gonna strike me, and I'll somehow manage to walk off.
Now
Like,
you're gonna make it to 90 now. Like the gods have given up. Like, all right, this motherfucker's unkillable. I quit.
I was too
Walking out.
powerful. Just sad they killed my Kia though.
Yeah, I heard that you were in a car wreck. How is your lung?
It's okay. It was just bruised. I was wanting to make sure I didn't partially collapse it, but took a steering wheel to the chest at about 45, 50 miles an hour. Took a pole head on. You drive past Cookout, it's still leaning.
Oh, wow.
Dude merged into my passenger's side and forced me into the pole head on.
Dang.
Yeah, I was joking with my lawyer about maybe I should get a little dick truck. Just instead of like crazy Trump flags on this jacked up truck, just hang gay pride flags and pentagrams.
Yes, yes. And big old Satan stickers.
Just mess with them. I just got this one in the mail recently. It says, I already know I'm going to hell. At this point, it's go big or go. Making
Right.
traffic laugh.
Oh my God. Somebody told me the other day, I'm like, you're going to hell. I'm like, yeah, but this is not the reason why.
Who said that to you? Or like
I
what
don't
happened?
even remember. Like, it was such an off the hand quip. It was a friend of mine who was just cracking a joke about something I'd said, because I'd said something, terrible. We think dark humor. That's where we live.
Yeah.
And I said something terrible. He's like, you're going to hell for that. I'm like, I'm going to hell, but probably not for that.
I always love those like really crazy commenters you'll get. You'll just send like a text wall with no punctuation full of Bible verses and screeching.
Oh my God, I got one of those the other day.
Oh, really?
They are getting worse. I knew this was going to eventually come up with conversation because, the haters.
I love them.
Bless their hearts. But no, I literally got that one. I think I got a chunk of Leviticus. I'm like,
That's great.
it's like, I'm like, and I'm looking at it and the punctuation is all screwed up. I'm like, this poor motherfucker spent his time, his energy to sit there and tell me what was wrong with my life. Like, he took the time to hand type that. He did not copy and paste. No, this 80-year-old man at his computer sat there with the Bible and the computer here going, to tell me how I was going to hell. I'm like, I was like, I really want to respond to this guy. I feel like he's earned it.
It's like, I gave you a text wall, please respond. Sometimes I just wonder the logic behind, like, just a text wall full of scripture quotes. I'm like, who is that convincing? What goes on in your head?
I don't understand it. Like, I mean, I know they've read it because they had to type it out. And like they handpicked these fucking verses about. I know I get a lot about of course I get more about witches because mine's divination. But
Oh,
it is
really?
always like you keep repeating the same verses I've already heard. I'm like, how many times can you repeat the same 25 verses? Because I wasn't listening the first time and I won't be listening next time.
I'm going to quote the verses about Elijah and the she bears, and her lover's omissions was that of donkeys. Things that are actually in there, but nobody reads ever.
Right. I'm like, it kind of like, how the hell did this make it into the book in the first place? Like, what happened, people?
A lot of committees.
Somebody picked that because I mean, there's like, of course, there's the whole, oh, what is it? The canon.
Yeah.
Where they actually like, sat down, a bunch of old bastards sat down 800 years ago and put all this shit in one book, and some poor asshole scribe had to sit down there verse by verse and pick and choose, and this is what they did with that time. I'm like, I know you didn't have anything better to do with your life, but damn.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating piece of literature when you look at it at a historical context. Like, I like the Bible as much as I like the Cat in the Hat or anything else. It's literature and
That is
it's
a
part of
whole hell of a lot
history.
easier to read.
I like the Cat in the Hat, especially that really creepy, like, live action movie.
Oh my god, like, I'm like, people had problems with that. I remember like there was a whole discourse about how this is not child friendly, and it got a little. I was like, some of the comments, some of the things like the kid said and the cat said. I'm like, this movie is not for children. It's not actually for children. We're just gonna say that.
I take it they haven't seen any 90s cartoons recently. I mean, shit. Rocco worked at a phone sex hotline.
Oh my god, I forgot that shit.
That, and there
You
was
know,
Ren and Stimpy and South Park. I'm like, and they're complaining over the Cat in the Hat.
Ren and Stimpy. My parents would not let me watch Ren and Stimpy or South Park. Like, I mean, of course, South Park, they're straight up about not being actually for the kids. They're
Yeah.
not for the youth.
Yeah, especially in the late '90s when a lot of politicians were discussing censorship. It was around the time Columbine had happened. Everybody was carrying on about, oh no, it's the music and the video games. I grew up on a hefty diet, a Beavis and Butthead, late night HBO, South Park, unlimited internet access, and being a latchkey kid. And I turned out, I wouldn't say fine, but at least
Well, you
I've got a
figured
good
it out.
sense of
That's the
humor.
big point, right?
Yeah, I can support myself and drive, so I guess it's a start.
You know, I do know, like, and I definitely want to get back to the haters because there's just so much
Because
content.
I have like questions about what you're hearing. Because I wonder how your experiences as on your path will differ from what like I get.
So here's a question. I know you said something about Columbine. So you were a kid during that time. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I was in 7th grade. Like, there's a whole generation of gothy white kids who got kicked out of school.
Oh God, I was a little young when that happened, but oh, I've read a lot of books on the subject and just how panicked parents were. Some kid went around saying it's the trench coat mafia and something about Marilyn Manson. They just kind of ran with it.
They did. Like, there was a whole wave of them. Like, seriously, there's a whole generation. And I happened to be just in the right. I was in 7th grade, which was already hell. I was already walking around looking like the chick from The Ring. Like, I grew my hair out so that people wouldn't see me crying every day. I'm like, it is as bad as it looks. Like, looking back, I'm like, kid. I was even seeing a psychologist at the time because I had to do that to get my ADHD meds, which were making it worse. So I was like, looking back now, I'm like, It's funny now. Like, I got all the grave humor for it now, but damn. And then,
I
like,
don't.
so I was the creepy kid already. I didn't realize how creepy I was until I was like, right after Columbine, I'm like, it'll happen here, and it's going to be the quiet kid that nobody pays attention to, and the whole group of people push their desks back.
Oof.
And they
I'm
expelled me
so
like
sorry.
the next morning.
Yeah,
No,
I'm.
I mean, the next year was hilarious because I had all this rage and I couldn't give a shit what people thought of me anymore. So I was like, fuck it. My first real dose of don't give a fuck.
Hell yeah. It was just such an odd time in history. I mean, I think every generation's gonna have its moral panics, though.
Yeah. This was
I right, huh?
that was right around the Satanic Panic too.
Oh yeah. I don't think the Satanic Panic ever really even ended.
I don't think so either. It's like it's a flame. It is that's the pyre we're gonna get burnt on. The ashes are the embers are burning low. They're starting to spark back up, but they were burning low.
Yeah, particularly with like the QAnon and the conspiracies going on, and just the unlimited amount of information people have access to without understanding what credibility is.
That's true. Very
Um,
true.
Never underestimate the power of stupid people in large groups. That's what I live by.
They are scary. Like, that's one thing that actually does scare me. And I tell you what, I've noticed this may be just because I finally am getting back out into the world. Like, because I left my ex in 2018.
Mhm.
But, like, I went to a few pagan events before that. And even up until, like, about mid 2019 is when I really started noticing the haters coming back.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
that's when I started noticing, like, because I remember I had a friend who a lesbian friend who went to the gay pride, and she's like, yeah, I started going in 1998, and the haters were really bad back then, but now it's just like one guy with a misspelt sign. I'm like, we reached that point. But then, like, now they're back.
Yeah, I think a lot of it had to do with what was going on politically at the time. You've got President Obama, and all these right wingers are freaking out. So somebody comes along and tells them what they want to hear and panders to their every whim and interest. And well, we all know who we're talking about. I think uh, the Trump era really emboldened the whole age of anger kind of thing.
Yeah,
You saw a resurgence in like a lot of hate crime behaviors.
people are getting brave. They're starting to say the quiet part out loud.
Yeah, I I just hope things get better.
I do
It's
too.
it's scary as hell, and I think a lot of it's. I mean, I'm not generalizing all Christians because I have plenty of friends that are,
Right.
but I think the
We do try to keep this I usually use the term extremist or
yeah
fundy because I do have a Christian population who watches my show, so I
yeah
try not to alienate them. But yeah, you're right. There is a certain subgenre of pseudo Christian.
uh, yeah I think the highly politicized and reactionary segment of the religious right is.
Gotten
It seems
really
like they
loud.
love to react. If it's not video games or immigrants or 9/11, it's trans people now. So who's responsible for the moral decay of society this week? Tell us.
Like,
Only you have the answer.
you know, I spent way too much time in the backwoods of Jackson County. Like, if you there's, it's West Virginia. We got a lot of those kind of areas. So I try to understand them, like where it comes from. I'm like, they were already angry. They're already repressed. People who aren't making enough to ever get out, barely, have to work two jobs to get by. And it's weird. It's weird to see the mentality, like they grow up with it.
Yeah, I'm honestly, like, as somebody who studies psychology, I do find that people in that kind of genre of mainstream religion tend to also have very authoritarian tendencies, just innate to their personality. Um, Usually the need for cognitive closure is really strong too. So
Yeah.
that is actually going to predispose people to very irrational or dangerous beliefs. So people would rather have any answer or even an absurd one than go with I don't know. So sometimes it's easier for people to find a scapegoat. So I don't want to do the same thing to them because I'm not anti Christian.
Right.
I'm just anti Christian nationalist.
Right.
So I I cherish my religious freedoms and that should apply across the board. People have a right to tell me I'm going to go to hell till the cows come home. That is their legal right to think that. I don't care. My ego isn't that threatened. But
Right.
it, like I mentioned, said somebody's fist and their rights end at my face. Um, it's one thing to live in a community and practice your religion freely. It's another to say, "Oh, well, sorry, you can't have your birth certificate. Sorry, you can't have health care." Or, "Oh,
No.
looks like you're not getting hired here." Uh, put in policies that are regressive and will bar you from treatment as a trans person, including what bathroom you can use. Then they'll
Yeah,
turn
okay,
around.
this is something I definitely wanted to talk about,
Yeah.
like, because we're getting into that
Mhm.
turf territory, and I really didn't realize how bad it was until Joanne Rowling lost her shit on Twitter, and I was like, oh, it's so sad. It broke my heart. I'm like, I loved everything she did up until that point. I'm like,
Mhm.
this is why I don't have heroes.
Never meet your heroes. Everybody's problematic in some way, but I was kind of really disappointed about all that. But honestly, she seemed kind of off for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've only ever had a couple turf encounters IRL. Um, had this weird turf, like, they're not even a couple. One of them's gay and the other's a lesbian, just stalk me and make endless Facebook Live videos about me and how trans people want to assault them. I'm just like, you're literally coming onto my page. You don't want to have sex with me? Then don't have sex with me. But you're sitting there screeching over those trans people are infiltrating the gay community. And sorry, this is for real man and this. And everybody, they decided to get out of line one day and just get really nasty with me on a public forum. This didn't end well for them. So they said the wrong thing, including making the T slur. And they've basically collectively been chased out of the community at this point because they're making it hostile. It's okay. Nobody
Right.
liked him anyways. I don't
No, I
know.
wonder.
I wasn't even bothering them, but apparently they got hyper fixated on what I do with my genitals in my free time. I'm just like, okay, weird flex.
Very. Like, what do you think the T stands for?
Yeah. So they'll frequent forums like LGB without the T and just constantly post about trans people are coming to get me. They should be banned and this and that, just nonsensical rants. So it was entertaining on my end for a while. I'm like, you keep kicking the hornet's nest. Let's play
Let's see
stupid
how it
games, win
goes for
stupid
you.
prizes.
I
But
will never understand that. I'm like, okay, I mean, fine, I can understand not wanting to find out in the moment that, you're playing with a different set of dice, but unless you're actively intimate with somebody, how's it even your damn business?
I have no clue. That and I always told the guy because I didn't block him until things got really stalkery because I really don't care if people express their opinions on a public forum. I don't like the guy and I think he's damaging. But it's like, you want to come in here and show your ass? Okay, we can talk and argue all day. I'll be as decent as possible about it.
As long
Um,
as you amused me.
but yeah, it got so bizarre. And I was like, oh, really? I'm not gay? So what am I supposed to identify as? It's like, oh, I had no idea these two were the the gatekeeper of all that is queer and who's allowed in and out of bars in the community. I'm just like, I would love to see you argue with the army of bears on my previous Grindr account. Bring in the bear army. That's quotable.
That does sound like a meme.
Yeah,
That's like a meme.
Just a herd of bears come running towards the house.
Hashtag army of bears.
I love bears. They're just so cute. I mean, I like the guy kind, but I also like bears because I just want to hug them, but I'll get mauled in the process.
My dad's totem, one of his totem creatures was a bear. Like that's what he was known as a bear. I'm like, man, he knew what it meant, but he was totally into girls. Like otherwise, I'm like, yeah, I guess he kind of fits the. Otherwise, he kind of fits the profile.
Yeah. I'm slowly turning into a bear cub. Give me a little bit more beard oil, and I'll be good.
Yeah, definitely. Like I do appreciate the facial hair. It looks nice.
I was considering shaving the rest of my head, but I figured I'd look like a really fat LeVay if I did. So I do have a question for you, because I'm actually legitimately curious. What are some of your worst hater experiences as a witch? Do you identify as a witch? What should I call you? I don't want to be disrespectful.
I'm a Pisces. Like I said, I don't get hung up on titles. Everybody's trying to figure out everybody else's titles. I don't know what mine are. It's why I don't get too offended when somebody calls. But I go with psychic because it's the least loaded.
That's understandable.
You know, what I personally identify as a hot mess.
I don't blame you there.
Oh, hello, Luther. Are you coming to make your obligatory? Nope. He winds through this. He's a being very good baby. Yes. Okay. Come here, Luther. You want to show off for the camera? Come here. Come on. Nope. All right. Here, I'll swing the camera down. This is my Luther baby.
Paparino. Hi, buddy.
Oh, there's Peanut.
Puppies. I want to hug them.
Oh, yeah. That's my dog.
Such wisdom to share. I love puppies and kittens and snakes and birds.
I tell you what, I have learned a lot about how to treat people from my dog. You think about it, there's people he doesn't associate with, there's people he might bite if they came at him, and then there's people he actually really loves, and there's nothing like, they fit into one of three categories. I love you, don't pet me, get the fuck away.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got my albino husky at home, and she never makes a peep. It's weird, she's quiet most of the time, and just kind of does her little tap dance through the hall, just tap, 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 tap. That and poops on people's lawns occasionally.
He's actually pretty talkative. Like if you watch, I almost always during a live stream have to take a dog break and go listen outside or something because he's whining so loud. I'm like, people are gonna call the ASPCA on me. Could you not right now? You are fed, you are watered, you've been loved. Stop.
Yeah, honestly, the authorities are kind of like a big concern for me. As a very open, very brazen Satanist, I know there are consequences to freedom of speech, and I'm willing to accept the risks and all, but sometimes I legit worry that somebody is going to call CPS or animal control and file a fake report. Luckily, a lot of my friends who are in social work are like, yeah, we know this caller's full of shit.
That's terrifying. Like, I mean, think about it. That's one of the few things that comes along. That's one of the few privileges of working in the mental health field is, everybody else who works with crazy people. Like, you get a first name basis with the po-po pretty quick.
Oh, yeah. I had that before I became a mental health professional. I was a patient before, but been on both sides of the chair, so to speak, and a few years later, I have the keys to the psych ward on my belt and a slew of other things.
I found a way to some sort of sanity. It's not the best, but it works for me.
I always like to quote Anton on this. The world is just a really big institution. I always liked his comment on the Joe Pine interview he did way back in the day.
Oh, I think I remember that one. Like, there's a few legendary moments for Satanists that I'm like, just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta get back to the turf thing because I want to say this out loud. It's just, it bugs the hell out of me about turfs to begin with. I'm like, I just want to know what bathroom they think is fucking safe. Like, where do you think you're going? Like, you got better things to worry about in the bathroom. Like, that's where the junkies go to shoot up. Why are you worried about a guy being in there?
I have no clue. Like, trans people have been using the restroom with cis people for ages. They didn't care until their politicians started carrying on about it because it's useful to generate outrage. I mean, half the time the people I'm in the bathroom with don't even know that there's a trans guy taking a dump next to them. Like, nobody's looking. I mean, even as a gay trans man, who's into other men, the bathroom isn't a dick buffet. Not the time. It's like, what do they think I'm in there doing? I'm just gonna throw myself on the floor and rip my shirt off as soon as I walk in. It'll be too much.
Like, what do you people think is going on in there? Like, you pee and you get out. This is the age of the internet. If you want to find something, go look online.
Yeah. The one thing about men and women's restrooms I've always noticed is that women have a line outside. Nobody wants to poop when another woman is in the stall next to them. It's like, nobody can hear my shame. Men will have a straight up anal karaoke session for like a good 10 minutes and laugh about it.
You know, it's funny because this is one of the things that convinced me I was kind of non-binary, because when I go in there, I do my business. I don't care who hears or smells it.
Yeah. I know how that goes. When you gotta go, you gotta go.
That's what it's there for. You do your business, you wash your hands, and you leave.
Yeah, I just try not to make eye contact. Just give them the cowboy nod, and nobody really bothers anyone. I mean, I think trans women get it far worse than trans men because you have so many societal stigmas. It's like, it's kind of offensive. The media will treat transgender women like anybody with a penis is a predator. I'm just like, that's not how this works. So you're saying all men are predators? It just says people logic. They'll sit there and carry on about trans people all day, but you'll get on some of their forums and they'll have like the whole alpha, beta, zeta, delta male thing. And I'm just like, what are you on about? Are the straights okay?
No, I guess they're not, because I don't understand that shit either. Like the whole, like the pickup culture and the incels. I'm like, a lot of it came from like incel forums, I guess, because I watch a lot of ContraPoints. I love me some ContraPoints.
Me too.
Natalie Wynn is mother. Like, she can totally step on my throat, mommy.
I'm not usually into women, but I'll let her step on my throat any day.
But because she, you know, that's one thing I appreciated, is she would really like do a sociological study on these things. She's like, okay, well, these assholes are coming at me. I want to try and understand and make some money off of them because I've got to put up with them anyway. So I always appreciated that mentality. Like, let's try to pick these bitches apart and figure this out. And a lot of the terminology that, like, that whole alpha beta thing came from these incel communities and has somehow permeated out into the rest of society. Like, let's take something from the crazy people. Like, these people are definitely fucked up. Let's listen to them.
Yeah, I've had friends that are former incels, and they'll always tell me like what it was like to be in that kind of a community. Some of the echo chamber can be really, really intense. And a lot of them are white men who are alienated and need an outlet. Like, I'd love to read a much more in-depth academic study on it, but I've been watching some documentaries and lurking on numerous forums just because I when you watch a train crash, like when
Yeah.
you're about to see a train crash, all you can do is watch it crash in slow motion.
Right.
And I work in patient psych, so I not much intimidates or offends me. I go outside, I get called every name in the book per day. I go at work, and at least they can't help it.
Right. Once you realize somebody's sick, like once you realize that even they know that their way of thinking is not working, you kind of can't help but feel a little, I won't say pity, I'll say empathy.
Yeah.
Especially somebody who's neurodivergent. I'm like, okay, well, at any given moment, I'm going to embarrass the shit out of myself. So I can at least understand that level and then understand that yours is much worse.
Oh yeah, I can completely understand that. I'm a cringe lord and an edge lord, and I'm okay with it. Being based is being okay with your level of cringe.
Right.
I
Sanity is only a level of control, which I have very little of. So I guess I am pretty damn crazy.
yeah. Yeah, I've been teaching on psych disorders coincidentally enough this week. So we've been talking about everything from like autism spectrum disorder to current research being done on personality issues, etc. We try to devote every single class to a different DSM category. It's pretty interesting. Oh, hi, puppy. I see a puppy.
That's Peanut.
Hi, Peanut.
She's little and old.
Oh, small girl.
Hello, Peanut. No, she might actually come on camera. Come here, Peanut. Your love. You want to hold hands? She's a hand holder. Do you see that? Oh, let me hold. Camera over here.
Show me the Pete's.
Hello. Do you like to hold hands? She's a hand holder. Like, I don't know where this comes from, but she'll hold your hand and then look away. Like, oh yeah, now you're interested in me on camera.
Hi, babies.
Now you're interested. Okay. Yes, the quintessential dog moment. As I whip the camera wildly around. There we go.
Ah, you good.
Oh, my eyelashes have stayed on.
I like those.
I know, like if I bat fast enough, I might take off.
It's what my delivery nurses said about Ronan when she was first born. Just those eyelashes. They look like little falsies. They're good for butterfly kisses.
Oh my god, like these are the biggest eyelashes I've ever put on, and honest to God, like sometimes when I do this, I can feel them on my forehead. Like,
oh, that sounds cool as hell.
It's a little weird. It's an experience.
Yeah, it's how it was when I started getting facial hairs in, because occasionally one will end up in your mouth while you're eating.
Right.
And it's just like, you have to get used to your kid yanking and like little mustache like getting chewed on. I just kind of put a little bit of like gel there, keep it out of my mouth.
So, like the physical change, actually that brings up like the physical changes. What was the weirdest thing to get used to?
Well, can I be completely candid?
Why not?
Fair enough. You get a micro penis on testosterone long enough, and like it's a lot to get used to. I mean, you're happy as hell about it, but that and getting muscular atrophy can be kind of difficult. So, like, a lot of your like intimate life changes quite a bit. I didn't really mind the acne or the body hair popping up as much. It's just kind of jarring to have all your fat move to your midsection as well. I've got a beer belly. I always told people when I was pregnant, it's all that youngling beer. Youngling. But there's a lot about testosterone people do not talk about because it's either risque or people are embarrassed to really chat about it outside of like forums for trans men. Honestly, the mental health changes have been some of the most jarring. After you've been basically living in your own personal health for the last 2 decades, any semblance of normalcy can be very difficult to get used to. Eventually, you kind of get comfy with it, though. Um,
Right.
I always kind of think it's like jumping into a really cold pool on a hot day. You get that initial shock, but eventually it becomes,
Kind of nice.
yeah, it's transitioning is a very hard experience to describe, but it's just generally relieving. It, I mean, presuming you're trans.
Right.
So it was like, I don't know, especially after top surgery in particular, it was like seeing color for the first time. It's like I could feel the sun on my chest and walk around and without a top on and actually shower without discomfort. Like all of the little things most cis people take for granted. After you're able to get a gender affirming surgery or like whatever extent you wish to transition to,
Right.
it's it's wonderful, but it's also a grieving process because you realize you've missed out on years of your life. Sorry, I hope all this is making sense. So, some
It
of the
kind of
physical changes are expected and you're ready for them, some you're not. But the psychological changes are just night and day, basically.
I kind of get it. Because I won't say like obviously I haven't transitioned. I'm still a woman. I've always been a woman, and I do feel masculine, but not in the same way I guess a man would. I don't know how to describe that either. The whole non-binary thing is a little weird, but like I do know, like when I came out of my exile, um, there was that first month or so where it's just like wandering around like a loose child.
That's really understandable. I not all trans people have dysphoria necessarily. People can argue with me about it all day until the cows come home. I happen to be one of those cases that has such severe dysphoria that it's just unlivable.
Right.
So life is still difficult post transition, but it's uh, it's a lesser version of hell, so to speak. Pre-T life was the ninth circle. I'm just in purgatory, crawling my way up the ladder, so to speak.
One step at a time, man. One step at a time.
Yeah, I know, right? One really expensive step at a time.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that it can be like luxury car amounts of money.
Yeah, I can't give you an exact dollar amount, but I've tallied the general costs over the years. It was about $3,500 just to get through the required therapy to do everything above the table. Um, about $700, $800 for all of the legal paperwork updates. I don't know if I'll include the divorce during this because it was part of my transition, but
Throw it in there.
let's add another like 800 in legal costs between name changes, divorce papers. Um, I'll go ahead and include the pregnancy care because testosterone does funny things to an individual, and I didn't care anymore, and so if it wasn't for testosterone, I wouldn't have Ronan. Um, there's the countless prescriptions you need to get, and that I'm probably going to be on for the rest of my life. Um, there's testosterone, estrogen blockers, um, surgery. I can't really necessarily talk about the full cost. It was a $10,000 procedure, but had a deal run with me on it. So it's I
Discount
actually
top surgery.
oh yeah, I'm looking at bottom surgery, but that's a long term investment because it's easier to dig a hole than build a pole surgically.
I
That and
see.
Yeah, and I'd rather go to probably the best in the world in order to get it done, and I'll need to have a little bit of a vacation and medical leave for it. So it's a lot of planning.
Right.
Top surgery, I just went back to work after 5 days because I don't know.
Wasn't using him anyway.
Yeah, just goes right back to work. I had my little drains, used them like nunchucks, like a Ninja Turtle. um, yeah, honestly, upwards of it's been about upwards of 14,000, 15,000 over the last 2 years.
Dang.
So I meet my deductible every year.
I'm
It's
sorry. Congratulations.
it's okay. The rest is paid for after that, including prescriptions. It's just it's really unaffordable for many people.
Right.
Because, I mean, when you add hiring discrimination into the mix and the fact that it does pop up on background checks, so right out the starting gate, you're at a disadvantage. So if you're constantly working jobs without insurance coverage, depending on what state you work in, Medicaid might not cover you. If Medicaid might not cover you for medically necessary care, then where else are you going to turn?
Right.
So there's just a lot of social ills and lack of equity in this kind of a community. And it starts with politicians and who's voting for what laws and who's getting covered and what we say and the cultural attitudes we influence. Um, I've had it easy, and that's scary. It gets so much worse for countless people who don't have the option to be out loud and proud and wear Satan shirts and have trans pride bumper stickers on their car. I'm an unusual case. There are people out there that could end up homeless if they were to say anything about their gender identity, let alone seek medical treatment. So you got to jump through countless medical and legal hoops. Even with like private insurance, it's outrageous. So,
And I've got my thoughts and feels about our whole medical system. That's
oh,
just
don't even get me started. I'll keep you here till midnight talking about it.
we've already been here an hour and a half. I don't know if you've noticed that.
I am very good at talking.
And I enjoy listening. I've really actually really, really genuinely enjoyed this live stream.
Oh yeah, I'd love to do another informal live stream sometime and just chat about weird shit and life and haters, like and how your experiences as a minority religion differ.
Right.
Because I'd love to.
I haven't. I get the random run-ins with people who are like, it's more of a, oh, well, kind of thing, rather than like, I mean, you do get the protesters with their pretty signs, and God, they spend money to hate us, man. They spent money to hate us. I went to
Yeah.
the Beckman Pride event because I mean, I'm also bisexual, non-binary person, so I love going to the Pride events,
Oh
and
yeah.
I went to the Ashland Pride, like
Oh, you had a Zach Humphreys encounter.
yes, you know what
You're
I'm
such
talking.
a child.
I'm like, you know what? I love it. Like, this is going to get me views. You go ahead and you post them little signs, buddy.
It's okay. We had made a wall of peace a couple years prior. We just kind of showed up with flags, turn our backs to them, and do not respond at all, and just make
That's
a
basically what
barrier.
we
So
ended up doing. They had their pride blankets out. Everybody was just like standing like they had the wall, but it was just like just the orange fencing kind of thing. And there were
yeah,
so many people at Pride that they were like off in the field, but there was like just this one section. Like they had their own little section. They had the bullhorn. I'm like, I went and I looked up how much these assholes had to have spent, and like those signs, some of them were like $100 a pop.
I believe it. I actually kind of lurk on street preacher communities just to watch, and honestly, it's good to learn their tactics. The thing is that they want to be as outrageous and as offensive as possible. That's their right and all, but their primary goal is to target the most vulnerable, like teenagers who might be a bit more impulsive. So they'll say the most vile, reprehensible things that come to their mind immediately for
Right.
shock value and to get them to hate you. Basically, they want people to assault them so they can sue the city and cry religious discrimination. They edit the footage for their YouTube as
Oh
well.
yeah, I've seen some of them. It's
Oh,
sad. Like I've seen myself on them.
I've seen myself on him. Zach screaming at me.
Right. That's a moment though, isn't it? Just that moment you're like, holy shit, that's me. I look great.
I don't even argue with them anymore. I just don't take it personally. I'm like, okay, that's nice. They get really mad when they don't get the attention they crave.
Oh,
I'm just like, I'm minding my own business. Just don't give them a lick of attention unless you're holding up like a banner, just like messing with them. I like the guy who dresses up as Spider-Man whenever he's on campus and just prances around him.
I haven't seen that one. I need to come to Marshall more often.
Oh, I don't really show up often. I'm always busy with the great Princess of P.
I know you got a family, 2 jobs, and a Ph.D. to work on.
Yeah, it's online, luckily. But their accreditation's really good, and honestly, I've really liked Arizona State for a while. I mean, their mascot's a sun devil. How apropos. In all seriousness. Yeah, you better believe it, all that Sparky merchandise. In all seriousness, they did have a behavioral health management doctorate that actually suited my needs really well. They thought I'd be a good fit for, so I was like, they've got good freedom of speech policies. The staff have been absolutely wonderful, and I absolutely love it so far. And honestly, it's just kind of nice to not be on campus and have my constant rumor mill. It's like, can I just focus on schoolwork, guys?
I know that's got to be, yeah, that's one thing about being in West Virginia. I mean, even the people who aren't like out and proud bigots are, there's still a whole subgenre of people that they give you the look, the look.
I just don't notice it anymore, really. I'm just like, oh, hi. But then again, cues and me are kind of weird. Like, huh?
Sometimes I notice, and sometimes, like, it could just, like...
Yeah. That's how it is with me. Like, I'll say one thing, but just mean it very literally, but I don't realize it comes off as completely offensive, and they're like, Ash, buddy. My dad's always like, Ash, don't talk about, like, your former tits at the dinner table. Just like, Dad, I'm a notorious oversharer. Don't come to my house then or call.
You know, sometimes it's one of those things, like, I notice that sometimes it's not so much that I don't get social cues. With the ADHD, I mean, sometimes I miss them, but it's more like I'm paying attention to something else. But like at my family, my mom and I were both nurses, so it really wasn't an inappropriate conversation to have, to be talking about some really gross subjects. Because when you get to a point where, you got to wipe somebody's butt, wash your hands, go scarf down lunch, and come back to wipe somebody else, what are you going to be talking about at lunch?
Yeah, I know how that goes. I mean, as a parent to a very small child, I always look at her and say, what a stink, and kiss her toes to distract her while she's laughing at my pain. I love kids, and just poop is nothing when you're a pet owner, a parent, and I see worse.
Right. I definitely get that. Okay, we are definitely over the hour and 30 mark. Like we're down to 1 viewer. Whoever that is, thank you for watching. Love you.
Thank you, stranger.
So for people who are watching this in the future, you can find out more about the Satanic Temple at thesatanictemple.com. You can find Ash on you've got several social media sites, don't you? You got the Facebook and Instagram, and where can people harass you at?
Heaven forbid if you get on my Facebook, the endless shit posting per day, you poor soul.
It's funny. It's funny. I did look it up. It was entertaining.
As long as I can make people laugh, then it's all good.
And of course, you can find me at DottieThePsychic.com. All right. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Sail hating.
Safe
Thanks.
travel.
Oh, you too. I'm gonna go home and kiss my goblin. Just kiss those.
Oh, you froze up.
Toes.
Kisses of toes. That's cute.
Oh, so did you. I was like, oh, did I freeze?
Yeah, I think we froze. I think
Well,
it is my internet telling me to shut the fuck up.
My computer's about ready to eat itself off the desk.
Well, the rest of us have had a great evening.
It's really good talking to you, though. I'm just glad you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm glad you're doing all right too. We need to go hang out in real life. Like, we definitely need to go have like a couple of drinks, some of the, hang out and just chit chat about all the bizarreness of the world.
Yeah. Just absurdism helps you get through the day a lot of the time.
It does. You know what? Like, even though like I have a system of faith that is not a religion. I have tried to develop. My dad told me to find God on your own. Don't listen to other people.
I've always found that to be completely valid.
Right, and that's kind of the way I've looked at things. I was like, I like the meditation. I learned a lot from Western occultism actually, because you start out with, and I didn't stick with it. I'm into all sorts of different things. I like to learn a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. But the single point meditation, it's like you find a spot and you meditate and you stare at it. Consider that point, and you consider the mathematical definition of a point. And then when you learn that, that's your perspective. And then you can almost, in theory, sort of, you can infer other people's perspective from that, but it's not. It's only ever a reflection.
That makes sense.
Yeah. That was pretty earth-shattering to me.
I always had similar thoughts whenever I do, like, air travel. It's like, 1 minute all your problems seem so massive, and then you look at all these towns and cities and farms down there, and I'm just like, wow, everybody looks like ants. I wonder what their lives are like. What are they afraid of? What stresses do they have? It just all seems so minuscule sometimes, if that makes any sense.
It does, but that was in your view.
Yeah.
I actually just got to go on a plane because I was I went to England with my grandmother when I was 16, but then just a week ago, I was down in New Orleans, so I had to fly down there. So it was like the second time I remember. It was like the third time I've flown in my entire life.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was taking off, and I'm like so glad that the lady next to me decided to take a nap, and she was a heavy sleeper, because I'm just over there. They can't kick me off mid-flight.
I love flying. I've got a flight out to Arizona this February. I've got a book.
Fun. Is that school related? You got to go out there to graduate?
Nah, I'm going to SatanCon in February.
Fun.
That, and I'll probably tour my campus while I'm there and pick up lots of Sparky merchandise. Very predictable.
Sun Devil. That is pretty awesome.
I know, right?
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and we can keep talking, but I'm going to end the live stream. So I'm going to end with my catchphrase. Do you have a catchphrase?
Artemis, I think you're still in the chat. Do I have a catchphrase?
Oh, Asen? No, he hasn't been in the thing down there for a while.
Oh, I say I'm ready like spaghetti a lot. That'll be my catchphrase.
All right. Well, with that being said, safe travel and much profit to you.
Oh, bye.
Still hating. That's what it is.
Yeah, I gotta hop off. I gotta head home in a minute.
Okay, I am in.